Alrighty, everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am broadcasting live from my hotel room here in the Czech Republic. This podcast is definitely not brought to you by the original Budweiser, but if they want to sponsor it, you know where to find me. Guys, today we have got Zach Johnson from Icy Stars as well as Outerglow, and he's also releasing some solo music on his own personal channel, which I will link down below. Now, we have got so much to talk about today because me and Zach actually met 10 years ago when Icy Stars were touring through the UK with We the Kings and another band called All Forgotten, who I went to college with. So it all has kind of come full circle. Now, Zach, how are you doing? Where are you right now? And what are you up to?
Well, right now I am chilling at my house. I'm staying here in Clinton Township, Michigan with my mom's. I'm working as a prep cook and I'm trying to save up some money so I can move down to North Carolina where my daughter lives. Yeah. But other than that, I've been just working my ass off on tunes and trying to do some like do-it-yourself music videos. I have a very like set path goal-wise of what I want to do with my music. So I'm pretty much like this time around, I'm not going to rush into it. Like kind of like I did with Outerglow, admittedly. Like I kind of just tried to shit out some songs so like my name could stay relevant, to be honest. So I kind of basically was just like, this time I'm just gonna really take my time. I've always loved singing, so after doing so many years of metalcore and screaming and stuff like that, I stopped screaming and started really training my singing voice and like taught myself how to write pop songs. So that's just like what I do now is I make like hip hop / pop stuff. It's comparable to basically like whatever, like Black Bear and Post Malone type shit like that. It's like, it's very relevant, but my lyrics tend to be melancholy, so it has its own kind of little emo twist to it.
Awesome. Yeah. It's got that kind of vibe to it. Sort of almost like Attack Attack's new music. You've actually got a kind of similar voice to Caleb, I would say, kind of low and groany, but also like really, really deep and you've actually got some really good range there. And I'm sure a lot of people, because I've seen this all over Reddit, all over YouTube, all over the band's Facebook page. People were like, what happened to Outerglow? They come out, they release 2 songs, they release like 1 music video, and then poof, just gone, a couple gigs here and there. But as you mentioned before we started recording, the band didn't want to tour.
Well, dude, that story is a long story, man, but I'll get into it. Like, I honestly, like, we can go as long as you want. Yeah, so basically, here's that story. I was with my baby mama at the time down there in North Carolina, and it was basically like a month in before we were about to get married, and some stuff happened that between me and her that I'm not gonna slander her. Like she's the mother of my child. Me and her don't really get along too well nowadays, but some stuff happened between us that led us to separating. So then it was just like, okay, this one kid that I met, his name was Chris Watts, and he was in a local band called Guard My Ways. And I pretty much featured on one of their songs. And he was just like, yo, dude, if you need a place to stay, like you can just come crash at my house. I have an open room. And I was like close to broke. Like I was just like waiting for those Icy Stars checks to come through so I could eat and shit like that. Like it was really, really like low point in my life. Like I was always broke, like struggling to eat. Also, I was heavy in alcoholism.
You get residual income from Icy Stars.
Well, I mean, I did for a certain point. That further on in the story, I ended up having them just give me a lump sum because I was sick of waiting for them to send me the royalty checks. Every single time it was supposed to be on schedule, it would always be months late. And like there would be times where like they would say that like the checks haven't come yet, and like I would see on their Facebook feed that they just bought a brand new van to tour in and shit like that. And I'm just like, dude, you motherfuckers. But anyways, going back to Chris, so it gets to the point where like I end up living with this kid, and he would see me sit there writing songs, and he kind of was just like, oh shit, like this kid can really write songs. So like he's kind of one of those, like, the way that I compare him to is like kind of like character from like Ed, Edd n Eddy. like he's always trying to come up with schemes to get money, like get rich quick schemes. Like this motherfucker now has like a wrestling ring in the back of his backyard, and he's like trying to get him and all of his cousins to become like wrestlers on the WWE and shit. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ. Anyways, and the reason why I talk so salty about that kid is because Chris Watts is like one of the main reasons why Outerglow didn't work out. He was the other screamer. He was just a very malicious person, man. I mean, like I was active in my alcoholism when that was happening, and like he would do certain things to like try to manipulate me and stuff into doing shit, like just because I drink. Like he would be like, say he wanted to like go out and do something fun, but like I just wanted to chill at the house and work on music. Like he would all some shit I want to do. He'd be like, if you come and hit the town with me, I'll pay for everything, and then like I'll buy you a bottle on the way home and shit like that. And like, so it was just kind of like little shit like that. Like now that I take a step back and I look at it, I'm just like, wow, it's kind of an eye opener to the point where I just think like through the whole entire time in the music industry, like after it got to the point where like I was addicted to alcohol, like realistically anybody in the music industry could really get me to do whatever the fuck they wanted to do just with a little bit of booze, with a little bit of free booze. Like they'd be like, oh, you want to do this interview? Boom, yeah, we'll give you some drinks. Like I was at the Monster tent on Warped Tour every single fucking day because they gave me free booze. Like I found it everywhere. So yeah, so that kid, me and that kid did not get along. Like it just got to the point where like these guys didn't want to tour. I'm depressed as hell, just like deep into alcoholism, fucking everything that I didn't even really like most of the music that I was writing because it was coming from such a negative place. Like I know there's lots of people that were fans of Outerglow, and I think that it is good music, but it's just like, it's not productive for my mental health to write music from that standpoint anymore. So like, it was just like I was writing music from a place of anger instead of like using it as my therapy. Like instead of me telling my story and going through it, it was more so me just saying fuck you to the world. And it's very clear, almost like in the tone when you hear the takes that I'm doing it, you can just tell that I'm angry and depressed. And I guess that's the reason why people like it, because they can kind of relate to it. But I'm just not interested in going down that rabbit hole again.
that guy, albeit that guy sounds like he was a bit of an enabler and wasn't very good for your mental health if you're drinking and a bit of an asshole, but he was also
and here's the thing, man, like and like I don't know, there's a very big possibility that Chris Watts might see this podcast, so when I have the platform, I do want to reach out to you. And like Chris Watts, dude, like I have no bad blood towards you, dude. Like I wish you the best with all of your future endeavors. Like I met you at a super dark time in my life, and I realized that there was times when I was a huge asshole to you, and I realized that there's things that you did to me that wasn't really the greatest. But like from here on out, man, like I wish you the best. That's all I gotta say about that.
Well, that's very big of you to say. And the other thing ultimately was that, you know, he was the second screamer, and I don't mean this to sound rude, but if he'd have left the band could still go. You already had a guitar player who did the clean vocals. You were doing clean vocals and screams, and it was really a band decision rather than just him, which led to that imploding.
I mean, dude, that's why it was difficult with Outerglow as well, is because like it was kind of hard for me because like I had a very specific vision of what I wanted the music to sound like, and the guitar players were fucking so talented that I was just like, dude, anything they wrote, I was just like, dude, that's perfect. It's way better than anything I could come up with. Yeah. But I wrote most of the lyrics, but I mean, I essentially wrote all the lyrics, let's be honest. But not gassing myself up, but yeah. So essentially, what I wanted to do was I was just like, dude, no offense, Chris, but like I kind of just feel like I should just like be the front man of the band. Like that's what the fans want to see. Like me, I already had to share the stage with Devin when I was in Icy Stars. Like there's lots of people that are fans of just my screaming and my vocals. Like I should just be the front man. This is what people want. Oh, and he was like, dude, he would pretty much come out with a thing where it's basically like there was a certain point in the scene where having two vocalists was a popular thing, and then it kind of went away where it's like not popular anymore. And he basically said that trend is going to bounce back, so we'll be ahead of the game. And I was like, that's actually a pretty good insight, because even though Chris Watts isn't my favorite person in the world, when it comes to social media shit, this kid is a fucking genius. This kid, like, the reason why I wanted to work with him is because like he was so strong at the one point of this business that I am so weak at. is because it's so hard for me to constantly just be on my phone, posting tweets, going live on Instagram. Like, it's tiring because like when I'm just working a normal life too, like just going to work and take shit from these sous chefs that don't want to do shit. Like, I don't want to have to come home and still be working. Like, and I'm still working when I'm writing my music, but like, I love it so much that it doesn't feel like I'm working. But if I'm just sitting there on my phone all day and going live and constantly have to talk to people, like, I feel like it'll exhaust me and it'll make me not want to do it anymore.
Well, that's really glad to hear, like, that you're doing what you want to do now. And yeah, I mean, like I said, everywhere people have been like, what happened to that band? But now that we've cleared that up, I guess we should get into the juicy details about some Icy Star stuff, because like I said, me and you met 10 years ago, and we did a shit ton of Jaeger bombs, and I'm pretty sure I like tried to pick Brent up and like put him over my shoulder or something like that. I don't know. I was a fucking dick when I was 20 years old as well. Actually, no, I did the funniest thing. Actually, I think you and Brent, like, you both bought a round. You were like, "Oh, I'll get this round," and then Brent was like, "I'll get this round." And then me and my brother, we were so drunk that we actually had to leave because we were like on the verge of like vomiting. So before we even had
I'm not even gonna lie, man. Like, when I was at the peak of how much I could drink, I wouldn't even wish it on like my worst enemy to try to stay at the pace that I could go. Like, I could put down booze like it's nothing, dude. Like, I think it's just one of those like genetic things where like naturally, since they're like, I have like the alcoholic gene, and like, I don't know, it's from me having like roots of like Eastern European, because like I'm like Irish and German and Polish basically. So like, I'm just like a big melting pot of fucking Eastern European. So like, every single like alcoholic fucking generation is just like embedded into my shit. So like, I've always been able to put down booze even from when I was young. Like, even when I was like 12 years old, like I could start off drinking like 5 or 6 beers and only be buzzed. So like, I was already ahead of the game. So it always took, like, drinking was always an expensive habit for me, dude. Like, how much, if I saw the exact number of how much money I've spent in booze in my life, I'd probably want to kill myself. Like, it's got to be almost like $100,000 probably.
I agree, which is why I actually went for 4 years without drinking. But that's also probably, people watching this are probably noticing that you've lost quite a lot of weight, and that I'm sure contributed it. So you mentioned that Icy Stars, it wasn't them sending you checks. It was Sumerian, or was it them? And why were they buying a new van? Because were you guys not touring in a bus before you left?
Well, that's the way that shit unfolds, and like, that's the thing that's like, is kind of funny, because I think that from my perspective, I think that them using my addiction to alcohol to let me go of the band, I think it was
that was it. That was it, really.
I mean, but here, like, the story's very thick, and like, don't get me wrong. When Icy Stars let me go, from their standpoint, I think as a business standpoint, that's definitely the smartest decision that they could have gone with, and I think it was a smart idea from a business standpoint. The way that they went about doing it, in my personal opinion, was on some straight coward shit. Like, I'm chilling with my newborn baby in North Carolina. And like, dude, I'm not even trying to come out and attack Icy Stars and paint them as villains. Like, kind of the same thing with Chris Watts. Like, where I'm at with my mental health nowadays, like, dude, I'm super happy, man. I have a family that loves me. I have a couple friends that are like my dearest friends. Like, I value my life, man. Like, I'm not trying to attack Icy Stars and like try to blow up some shit just to like make my, and what I believe is to be true, because every story has two sides. Here's my side, you know. Like, dude, I was like in my apartment, like with my newborn baby, just like watching her, and it's like, next thing you know, like, I kind of noticed, like, I'm just like, every single time I try to check the email, it's like, it's not refreshing. So like, I'm just like, okay, yo, hey Jeff, what's up, man? The email password ain't working. Like, I can't see any of the emails. What's going on with that? And he's just like, yeah, it should be the same. And like, he pretty much would just like go ahead and just like say that to me after I had asked him probably like just like months in a row. You know what I'm saying? same thing, because like this is after, like this is like, and then next thing you know, like out of nowhere, Devin's just kind of like, oh yeah, we recorded an acoustic album.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't even invited to come write it.
I had a feeling.
Like, and then obviously, and them like from, if they're trying to be, oh well, like you're with your newborn kid and your thing, we didn't, like we thought that you would say no. And the reason why they thought that I would say no is because I kept on rejecting tour dates right after Eden was born, because all the tour dates that were popping up in our email was all fucking shit that we've done before. And from my perspective, I was just like, dude, why are we going on these same fucking tours? Like, I love the guys to death and they're my fucking homeboys, but like, I'm sorry, dude. Like, I don't want to go on tour with Word Alive again. We've toured with them fucking like 60 times. I want to go on a tour with a band that will give us reach to new fans that haven't seen us. And every single, like, dude, we've toured with them all. Fucking Asking Alexandria, Memphis, Mayfire. I'm like, dude, we need to try to get on shows where we can take people that are into different kinds of music and bring them over to our scene to make our scene stronger. That's the way that we're going to help everybody out. But the music scene, the screamo music scene is like fucking high school. It's full of egos. It's full of, you know, like you've seen that shit with like Ronnie Radke getting up in my face because like trying to fight me and shit. And like, dude, why did he do that? It's because he's insecure and he was intimidated by me. He was intimidated by my presence because I had charisma. I was a good performer. A lot of people liked me because I'm a funny motherfucker. And like, he saw me as a threat. So he got up in my face and tried to force me out. And it fucking worked. He forced us off the tour with his assholeness.
Yeah.
It's like, it's Matty Mullins from Memphis. That guy was a fucking cock to me on tour. Like, it's like people like, I hate to be a person that seems like I hold grudges, but like, dude, for the most part in my life, I've been kind to people. And it's like, I remember shit like that. It's like, if you're going to come out and just like try to deflate my ego when I'm just having a good time with my friends, it's like, why are you coming over here just trying to shit on my day when like I'm having a happy ass day? Fuck people like that.
I understand what you mean, because it's like, you know, you're around the same age that university kids are, and when you go to university and you got a lot of men or young men or boys in like a enclosed environment, there's a lot of egos, there's competitiveness there.
Yeah, everything's a competition, dude, and it doesn't go away, you know. But I feel like I strayed off from the original story. Yeah. So pretty much like when they ended up letting me go, like after they finally made the call, it was when we went to go play this show in Mexico. And the night before we played the show, we went out to this bar and we did like a whole bunch of drinks, and the person that owned the bar also had some yay. We fucking did some lines of coke and shit like that, getting into the fucking dark shit. And then so we got really fucked up the night before we played that show. And then we went to go play the show, and I was so fucking hungover that I knew the only way I would be able to play and actually play like pretty decently was if I drank a little bit more to even myself out. So when I went into the green room, I started, and like, keep in mind, like, yeah, dude, I was an active ass alcoholic. That's the only way I could function is by drinking. So like I started drinking more, and it just got to the point where my body had reached a limit where it was just like, I took it too far. Like I partied too hard, and it got to the point where like, no matter what I was trying to put into my body was like afraid that it was like poisonous. So it would just reject it automatically. Like I tried to eat a whole bunch of chicken wings. I puked it right up. I kept on trying to drink water. I kept on puking it up. So the whole entire time I played the show, I had to keep on running off stage and puking in the sink. Then, and here's fucking Sumerian trying to be all clever and trying to make me look like a idiot and shit. Then they go and post the YouTube after Icy Stars like finally gives me a call, and like they were trying to seem heartfelt about it. Like I kind of feel like they were almost like fake crying, to be honest, but like it is what it is. And then yeah, like, and like it's even hard for me to talk about, man, because I feel like I sound salty as hell. I'm just talking shit, but like, dude, yeah, it fucked me up. That was 10 years of my life, and it hurt my feelings the way they went about letting me go. I mean, I feel like we had 10 years together. You really couldn't just man up and just be like, hey man, like your drinking's has become a problem. Like they've asked me to drink. They've asked me to stop drinking in the past. Like I'll openly admit they had asked me to like settle down, and like there would be times where like I would kind of settle down and then it would spiral out of control again. When Mexico happened, that's when they had enough. But I just wish that they would have come at me and just been like, listen, dude, like with us being friends for that long, like it would have been super cool for them to just be like, hey man, like we're not trying to attack you, but like you have a serious issue and we want you to still be a part of this group, but you need to go to reading because it's affecting our business. And if they said that, if they would have just come at me like real bros and said that shit, I would have been happy to do it. But that's why I think there's an underlying issue where it was just getting to the point where they weren't making enough money to pay all the band members, because they let Jimmy go too. And the reason why from my understanding, the reason why they let Jimmy go is literally from a grudge that the drummer Andio had, because basically he was pissed. Like Jimmy was trying to haggle, or not haggle. Jimmy was trying to basically like barter with the Monster rep, and he was trying to intimidate him and saying that we had an offer from Red Bull that was for more money. And that was a complete lie. That was a complete lie. He was trying to hustle him. We're from Michigan. We're from outside of Detroit. Every single motherfucker that's an East Sider that's in the music game from Michigan, we're all fucking hustlers, dude. And like it ended up not working out. And the guy from Monster was like, dude, we've been sending you a check for $2,000 every month for like the past 3 years. If that's not good enough for you to just take some pictures and pass out some posters, you can suck my cock. And I would say the same thing. So we lost our Monster deal, and Andio never let that go, because that $2 grand, like if anyone ever looked at Icy Stars and thought that we were balling and fucking really like wealthy and shit like that, it's all smoke and mirrors, homie. There was like, don't get me wrong, there was a point in time where like I always had probably at least like maybe like 3 or 4 grand in my bank account, but like that's just like kind of being an adult. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not like people have this stigma that all these people, like, it's very rare for people in the metalcore scene to become successful enough to pay for their own house and shit. You have only a very few amount of people that did it, and like Matty Mullins is one of them, and fucking awesome Carlile. Like, and the reason why that they were able to do it is because like, and like, even though like me and Matty Mullins had our thing, and like I don't really like that kid, I'm not gonna say that I don't respect the fuck out of him, because that kid has mad grind and he knows how to market himself. And like the kid can sing. The kid, I don't know if he can write songs, but like he looks the part, he stays healthy, he performs well, he does everything that he's supposed to, and that's why he has a job, and that's why he keeps it. I was not able to do that when I was drinking and when I was with Icy Stars. So like realistically, them letting me go, at the end of the day, it's like the biggest blessing in disguise, because emotionally being in that band was not healthy for me, because also writing music with them was fucking just a task. Like Devin and Andio were so particular about the way that shit sounds. Like it would get to the point where like they would be so stubborn to work with. Like there would be times where I like just wanted to quit. And like that's why in the beginning of Icy Stars, after we dropped our first album, I quit the band for my girlfriend, because like just the way how we got discovered when we were so young. Like imagine the ego that all of us had getting signed right out of high school, bro. Like we were like, because none of us gave a shit about high school. We didn't get good grades. Like I'm the only motherfucker in Icy Stars that got motherfucker. They were just like, yeah, that's what we're doing. So like huge heads on all of us, and like I was just like, dude, fuck all y'all. I would much rather chill with my girlfriend that I love instead of going on these shitty ass tours, sleeping on frat house basement floors that have throw up on the carpet and shit. Fuck all that noise. And then they went, and it's almost kind of crazy, because like I realistically only had to do like maybe 2 or 3 tours of the tours that were like real grinds. It's almost like, it's kind of weird. It's like there was like a bigger force out there, like almost kind of looking out for me, where like I've had this roller coaster of a life, but like everything has just kind of worked out eventually. I mean, like people take life in general too seriously, man. Like things work out. It's like, dude, I'm a 30-year-old guy, and yeah, am I living in a room in my mom's house? I'm just like, yeah, dude, I don't give a fuck. My family loves me. I was hard on my luck. I got deep into depression and alcoholism, and like I'm on my road to pursuing that career again. And if I have to start from the beginning, it is what it is, and I don't give a shit. I'm never going to give up, and people are going to listen to my music because I'm not going to give them a choice not to.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, there's so much of what you just said was so true. I mean, for the first thing you said, which I was like, bingo, is people in the metalcore industry, they make regular salaries. It's not like the Metallica or the Motley Crue documentary where it's like groupies and millions of dollars and
some of the shit is real, and I feel like the only real case of that is Asking Alexandria. Well, I don't know what it is. It must have had great representation in their contract, but those motherfuckers are straight rich.
Well, I think it's also because bands like of Mice and Men, you also mentioned, you know, you came to the UK with The Word Alive, but you also came to the UK with We the Kings. And We the Kings was a better idea because you got introduced to new crowds. With The Word Alive, you were like, oh, again. Now, Of Mice and Men went on tour with Linkin Park and did all of this big, massive stuff. And you're completely right. Like, if you get on an arena tour, same thing with Issues. Issues got an arena tour with Bring Me the Horizon. You know, that's going to pay a lot more than playing the bloody Camden Underworld or the House of Blues with The Word Alive. Now,
like it's even to the point where it's just like even and like, dude, and here's the thing. Here's the reason why, like, because I feel like from an outsider's perspective, I feel like there's lots of I See Stars fans that might have gotten confused as to why all of these other bands continuously just got bigger than us. And the reason I think there's like a lot of factors behind it. I think that some of it is just bad luck, dude. There was lots of times where just like we would just have shit luck, man. Like there's one time where we were on Warped Tour and like our bus just kept on breaking down on Warped Tour. Like we ended up having to miss the New Jersey date or the Pennsylvania date on Warped Tour. And like, dude, when it came to markets, like we would go on a tour and literally the Pennsylvania date would pretty much pay for like half the tour. Like that's how big our market would be in like the New York and Pennsylvania area. Like I See Stars has always been an East Coast band.
The other thing was also that, so here's a few of my, I'm going to call them conspiracy theories. Okay. So, conspiracy theory number one was obviously that the band members wanted a bigger piece of the pie, so they kicked you and Jimmy out. Conspiracy theory number two.
I think there could be truth behind that.
Conspiracy theory number two was that you were having a kid and it was more.
I'm sorry, what was the second one? You cut out.
Second one was that you were having a kid and, you know, you couldn't be as involved. But the third one was that the band, with every album that came out, there was a slight change in the musical direction. And I'm guessing that's probably due to Devin and Andy. You kind of went with, so 3D was like an easy core pop punk metalcore album, and then you went almost straight up pop punk with the End of the World Party, but then returned to the metalcore. And then obviously New Demons, I would argue, is your biggest album, especially the song Crystal Ball. That's one of my favorite songs. And then
I can answer that question perfectly for you of why we do that.
Okay.
And it's a very, very interesting ploy, or I don't even know if ploy is the correct word, but it's almost just like kind of this weird hipster effect. It's like what we were trying to do is we would analyze, we would try to be the game and get, we were trying to be ahead of our time, essentially. Like we would think like, okay, everything right now, it's so everybody right now is kind of like cutting out screaming, like they're going a little bit more poppy. So since everyone's doing that, we're going to continuously try to make weirder shit and be the sore thumb. So when people go to a show, all the people that see all the bands they love that used to have a whole bunch of screaming in them, now we drop New Demons, which is the heaviest album that has most, like, it's almost led by my screaming as opposed to Devin singing. And it was just to the point where everyone else was dropping shit that was like almost getting on the lines of being poppy. So when we dropped that, it appeared to be so fucking heavy that people just did not see it coming. And they were just like, dude, my head just exploded.
Night
So
and
like,
day, night and day, yeah.
it's always a gamble. It's always a dice roll because like we thought that was gonna work for end of the world party, and unfortunately it caused us to have kind of a sophomore slump, which most bands do. And then that's when we came out with Digital Renegade, which was a happy medium, which is funny because I talk to a lot of fans that say that Digital Renegade is and always will be their favorite album, which I can respect, but it's hard for me as an artist to do that because my screams on New Demons were so much more developed that I just know that my performance on New Demons was just way better. I was a way better screamer. So like, I'm just like, you're crazy. The production value, everything on New Demons is so much better. But if it hits a certain place in your heart and that takes you to home, then fuck everybody and fuck even the quality of it, man. Like there's stuff that I listen to where the quality is legit trash. Like I could take the mix and put it into Studio One and improve it just by EQing the entire master. But like that song, it's just like that one song that made me feel something when I was 13. It just brings me back to like just skateboarding down to Walmart to try to go do that gap or something like that. It's like this music gives you memories, man. Like
it does. I want to say the
just like ocean and breeze, man. Almost like, yeah, it's like, I don't know. I feel like I there's oftentimes when I talk to people, I feel like I talk almost like too quickly, and I talk I get self-conscious because I'm such a blabbermouth, but like I honestly just really have so much to say, and I like to study and analyze lots of things. Like I like to analyze people and just analyze the way that things work. And yeah, I'm just at a point in my life where like I'm sick of taking bullshit, man. Like for instance, like at the kitchen that I'm at right now, like I have a job interview to go work at another kitchen tomorrow morning because like there's just shit that's going on at the place that I'm working on right now that like I'm just not gonna put up with it. It's just like it's unacceptable, rude bullshit. Like stupid little shit like keeping me there like longer than I have to be there, like just as like a power move. Like it's just like there's no need to have 2 dishwashers in a restaurant when there's only 1 table and there's only 30 minutes left of a shift. Like it makes no fucking sense. Yeah. So like I was just like, you know what? And like, I ended up posting something on Facebook and it was kind of funny because I think it got around to the people at my restaurant because the day after that, the sous chef that I don't get along with was like going overly out of his way to be nice to me. I was just like, dude, sometimes bitching fucking helps, dude. Like people will call you out for like being like a little bitch and like not just putting up with shit. But I'm like, sometimes like, dude, if you're not happy, you got to let people know how you feel or else it's never going to get fixed.
Yeah, I understand. You don't want to go through life surrounded by assholes and just doing shit you don't want to do. And speaking of which, actually, you mentioned this earlier. So you left Icy Stars twice. The first time you went, just kind of got a regular job. Chris Moore, who I think was your merch guy or something, took over for a little while. And then what was the process? Because you, like you said, you missed out on the shitty van, sleeping on the floor, like really cramped, uncomfortable toilet.
The thing about it though is like those tours though, like it's like also I missed out because those were on tours with some of the bands that were my favorite bands. Like that's when they went on tour with The Day to Remember. I would have killed to do that. And like they're still doing shit that I've dreamed of doing. Like the album that they're recording right now, like they're recording with David Bendith, and it's always been a dream of mine to record with Bendith because when they dropped Sempiternal out with Bring Me to the Horizon, it just blew my head. I mean, like that's another like super cliche thing. It's like people would be like, oh yeah, of course your favorite band is Bring Me to the Horizon, and I'm just like, yeah, dude, honestly, like the reason why Bring Me to the Horizon is my favorite band, and it's like everybody is like just too salty to say it. It's like, dude, it's because they do the best job. They are continuously innovating metalcore, and they're doing this. They're pretty much trying to do the same shit that Icy Stars is trying to do, but just on a much higher level.
And how did
that's what every single band in the metalcore industry nowadays, you can tell if you just take a step back and you look, every single band in the metalcore industry is trying to emulate what Bring Me the Horizon is doing, but in their own way, and with like little things to just, I mean, that you have your exceptions like Issues and shit like that, like Issues when Tyler Carter was a part of it. I don't even know what the fuck happened there. He got Me Too'd, or like he whipped his dick out at the wrong person or something. That shit's popping up everywhere. To be honest, I'm honestly like, cause like, dude, I was a wild bastard. I'm kind of surprised that nothing like that has popped up with me. Like there was times where like, I mean, like, dude, I did some crazy shit when I got really drunk. Like I choked out Austin Carlile for fucking no reason when I was like, I was wrestling with his like guitar techs, and then it just got to the point where like this just like demon came over me, and I just became violent. Like I blacked out and I just became violent, and I started actually fighting people. And then fucking Austin Carlisle came up on top of me and grabbed me by the shoulders and pinned me to the ground, and like looked me in the face and was just like, "You need to chill the fuck out." And like I straight up just took my hand and put he automatically let go of me, and like he like put onto the ground, and then like I just gave him the look like I was gonna straight fucking kill him, and stormed off. And then I went up onto the bandwagon, and everybody was just like, "Yeah, you know you're gonna have to go up on their bus and apologize about that tomorrow, right?" And I was just like, "Yeah, that was fucked up." Like, dude, I got blackout drunk and did some fucked up shit. Like, dude, when you get deep into the depths of alcoholism, you will do shit that you thought that's basically, it just makes it so you don't think, man. Like your moral compass gets all fluttery, and like you just get to the point where you just don't give a fuck about anything, and you just want to cause destruction. Like it's almost funny, because that one quote, and it's a Icy Stars lyric, but it's actually a quote from The Dark Knight. Some men just want to watch the world burn. Mm-hmm. Whenever I would get into my like super, because like I'm pretty sure I'm bipolar or something, like very super happy and productive, and then there's sometimes where like I get really depressed and like quiet, and then there's other times where just like my mood is stable. And like that's actually the reason why I smoke cannabis, because like I feel like with me having an addict brain, like it's just easier for me to function, to have some sort of like little substance like in my brain to like take the edge off. And like, dude, I openly admit that like whatever, if maybe like I'm a little bit addicted to weed, but I'm much more functional. And like it's like it's not like I just sit around and get stoned all day. It's almost like if it's possible to microdose weed, like that's what I do. Like I'll just like hit my wax pen, and then just like as soon as I feel like just like that little bit of thing, like I'm good and I can just go on for hours. And then like once it goes away, I just do it again. Like, and it's on some, and like, dude, like that's like just addicts, bro. Like addicts can turn anything into an addiction. Like me getting into good shape, it's just like I started dieting. I just like turned that part of my life around and made that my addiction. Going to Alcoholics Anonymous meetings, I don't go as much as I should, but I go a couple times a week, and I go there to hear people's stories and hear people, so I can remind myself, it's like, no, dude, you're not allowed to drink. If you drink, your life is going to start sucking again. Just don't do it. I have to tell myself that every fucking day.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's gnarly. I can't believe. I mean, it's completely understandable what happens to so many people. And what you said about Bring Me the Horizon really resonated, because I remember back in 2006, I saw them at a local festival in the southeast of England, playing to like 200 people. And even then, you know, the whole screamo thing was popular, but the death metal and the deathcore thing has only just started a little bit. It was more Enter Shikari and other stuff which was more popular at the time, more screamo and post-hardcore. So they've always been ahead of the curve. But you're right, so many metalcore bands are clones. What I liked about Icy Stars was that, you know, your 2013 albums were very different to the sort of pop rock which other bands were going for. For example, if you listen to the first album, the self-titled album, I think it is, of Mice and Men, and then you listen to Restoring Force, it is a night and day difference. Not that there's anything wrong with that, because it worked for them and they blew up, and at one point they were like an arena band. They were very big. But I would love to talk a little bit about first of all, the writing process for those early albums, and second of all, we kind of went off on a tangent, but from you leaving because, you know, you didn't want to do these little dirty tours, with Devin and Andrew, who kind of seem a bit dictatorial.
It wasn't even me being savvy not wanting to do tours. It was more so that I was so in love with the girl that I was with that I just knew that I would far more be happy if I had spent time with her instead of touring. I was just like, I kind of did it, and I was like, you know, man.
How did you
read what?
Though?
Oh, I'm sorry. I need to
Oh.
Say that again. I need to turn it up just a bit.
I meant, how did you rejoin Icy Stars initially? Because Chris was covering for you for a bit.
That's a fun story. That's a real fun story. So I'm working at Delta, right? And I mean, yeah, dude, I just like essentially I partied for a long time, man. Like even when I wasn't in Icy Stars, like me and my girlfriend Christina back in the day, dude, like we were always smoking weed and getting drunk. This one time I was like, I remember I was at Del Taco and I was hungover as fuck. And like I'm just sitting there, I'm just like, dude, fucking hate my life. Like I was seeing everything because like I was still, even though I wasn't in the band, I was still great friends with everybody in Icy Stars. Every single time they would come up home from tour, we would smoke. Like I would show them some of the beats I was making and stuff. Like there was a sec there where I was kind of trying to be a rapper. Yeah. Essentially kind of what I'm doing now, but just like I wasn't able to do it as seriously because like I was always so fucked up, you know. Like it was kind of more so just like it seemed like a party trick. I go around and just be like, oh, here's these sweet ass beats I can make. I'm not really doing shit with them, but I'm talented. Pay attention to me. But yeah, I was at Del Taco. I was working there for like a year and a half, and this one day Devin texted me and he was just like, hey man, is there any way that you can like come over tomorrow? He's like, fuck it, let's hang out right now. What are you doing? And I can't remember exactly how I got to work because I'm pretty sure I was so hungover. I was still pretty drunk. But I ended up getting picked up by Devin in his mom's minivan. And we're going around. He takes me for a drive around the block and he's just like, listen, man. He's like, things aren't working out with Chris. Crazy story. Fucking apparently, because from where we're from in Michigan, with it being right outside of Detroit, it would, and like this is just kind of a thing that's not talked about a lot, but like there was a certain point in time where saying the N-word, like with an A at the end, was kind of just like a bro type thing where like if you're being like kind of trying to come off like a hard ass or trying to come off like you're super cool and shit, like you would just throw that at the end of the shit almost as like a way to even like scare people or some shit, or just like let people know that you have the demeanor, that you have street smarts, and that like you're not to be fucked with, almost, if that makes any sense.
Oh yeah, I remember Of Mice and Men did it actually. Of Mice and Men during their breakdown.
And Chris being black, obviously it bothered the fuck out of him because it would slip out sometimes when they would just be like fucking around and shit, and it would bother the shit out of Chris. Apparently one time, and like very rightfully so, I mean, in this day and age, people are so much more woke. Like I feel like an idiot that I ever said that. I mean, like I feel like an idiot that I've ever said words like faggot and gay and stuff like that, and like that I ever was like misogynistic enough to use any of that in a derogatory form. Like I was so uneducated and so stupid. Like it's always great. Like it's great to like when you notice that like you're growing up and it's like, dude, I'm actually becoming a better person. Like moving forward is great. Staying stuck in your little angsty fucking teenage years, some people do it all the way until they die, and it's just counterproductive. But yeah, man. So Devin was just like, hey, I always like just wander off. My brain is crazy. But yeah, Devin was just like, hey man, we want you to join the band again. Apparently like there was like some scenario where Chris splashed water in Mike Oliver's face. Mike Oliver is the older brother of the Oliver brothers that would always coerce his way into going on our tours. And like that was another dynamic about the whole entire situation that would always fucking piss me off, is that the Oliver brothers would basically treat the money from Icy Stars as like their family's like personal bank account. Like I recall one time where like they took some of the band money and like loaned it to Mike because he had to pay for child support or else he was going to go to jail, and he never paid us back. I remember like multiple times where they would loan him money and he just never paid us back. No hard feelings towards Mike. Like from what I've seen online and shit, it seems like he's like very mentally healthy nowadays and he has his shit together. But like he himself too struggled with being addicted to partying and trying to hook up with lots of girls, and like he also was just like, it's almost like every single Oliver brother, they all just have like this very like tribal like ego where they think that when it comes to music, everything that they do is right. Like it comes from a place because their dad was a very successful musician growing up. Like he was kind of a hometown hero, Michigan, for this called the Teals, which I'm pretty sure they had like originals, but they were more so a cover band. But they were fucking huge because they sounded great. Like their dad was a great singer and they covered the songs perfectly. So with that being said, like they kind of just, they had the music gene in them. They like those like you heard, Devin can sing. My critique to him as a singer is that I feel like there's sometimes where I listen, like with his new stuff especially, it's like I think that the production value of his new stuff is just like I don't even have the money or the knowledge to reach it yet. With like when it comes plugins wise and just like EQing and compression, all the boring shit that only sound nerds want to talk about. Yeah, Devin is a super talented producer. Like I know for a fact, like that kid really does work hard on his mixes and shit. Like there was times where like I would go over to hang out with him even after I quit the band, even like after I got sober and stuff. And I got stories about that too. Where he would show it to me and like I was impressed, but it almost kind of seems like I listened to his like beats and I'm just like, dude, these beats are so crispy, but like I feel like this song only has like 5 or 6 lines in it. Like I want more words. I want to hear more of the story. It's just like continuously saying like the one song that he dropped, does your heart have room for me? And it's like that's a really good idea and a sweet thing for a chorus, but like I would like it if when it comes into the verses, I wish that it was less EDM and I wish it was like more just him up front, like just being an actual like pop star. Like that kid has every potential to just be a straight pop star on like a Justin Bieber type level. I don't understand why he doesn't take that route. Like if I was his manager, I'd be like, dude, you're fucking up. Like why are you going backwards and trying to put yourself in a box with this EDM scene, or even like with I See Stars in the metalcore scene? Like your eyes need to like, I'm to the point where it's like, dude, my eyes are bigger than that. It's like I'm trying to set out to like write hits, dude. It comes off like cocky, but like I've been doing it for a long time, and it's just like I know that I know how to write a song. I know that I can write catchy tunes. Like I know that I could get a job even just like writing hooks for people and stuff like that. Like I just need to focus more on just showing people that I'm a genuinely nice guy. I'm talented and like I have a good work ethic. Once I put like, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, I'm at the point in my life where I kind of tarnished my reputation from my old self. So since I've been reborn, like I'm like completely starting over. So people know that I'm a different person. It's just like this whole entire like journey of music that I'm on now is like just like my own journey of healing, man. It's just like it's me singing about like my resentments about being in the music industry, about my resentments towards Devin. Like there's a song that I have on the EP that I'm about to drop that is like about Devin, and I sound kind of salty and like it's about him, but it's like, dude, that's why music is therapy to me. It's like it's vulnerable for me to put my feelings of angst out there towards him, because it's hard to talk about. So it's easier for me to just like write a song about it and drop it, and then underneath it on the caption, I'm literally just gonna be like, Devin, I fucking love you, dude. Like I'm like, feel like I'm gonna cry, man. Like I love you, man, and I wish you the best. It's just what happened between us. I felt like you did me wrong, man.
Of course.
Ugh.
Of course. No, I mean, you were in that band for 10 years, and then you had
I felt like when I needed my best friends the most, they turned their back on me, and it fucked me up. I said it.
They pulled the rug out from underneath you, and that was my conspiracy theory that, you know, you just had a kid.
Yeah, man, like I'm just like, wow, I can't believe I just cried. I'm like, I wonder how many people are gonna see this. I not even like, dude, that's how emotionally like broken I am. It's like I cried, but like not even like tears didn't even come out, dude. Like you can look at my eyes and like not as like it probably like was just like wincing its way out and it sucked it back in and it was just like, nope, bottle that shit back down. But like, no, that's why I have to talk about the things, dude. Like I bottled all of my aggression and all of my bad like traumas from my life for my entire life because like in this day and age they try to teach men like the way that I was brought up is just like, no, you don't show your feelings, you fucking fight and you do shit business and you take care of your family. That's it. Honestly, dude, in this day and age, fuck that, dude. If you're upset about something and it's affecting your happiness, talk about it and don't let it eat away at you, or you're gonna become a fucking like you're just gonna become an emotionless, misogynistic asshole, sociopath, like most of the men that are walking the earth right now. Like, thank God that like even the generations underneath me are becoming a little bit more woke so quickly. Like, I'm still learning, man. Like, there's still things that has been embedded in my brain from the way that I was raised that I'm having trouble with, that I have to check myself on. Like, even when it comes to like people that are transgender and stuff like that, it's like my brain has a hard time processing what it must feel like in order, it's like you feel like you're a girl but you're in a boy's body, and it's like it makes me have almost such deep sympathy. And like whenever you see a person that's brave enough to say fuck you to the world and embrace that and dress the way that they want to look, and like and it's like, dude, they're a girl. It's like if in their mind they're a girl and that's what makes them happy, it's like, dude, that is what it is. And like people like to take it on the scientific level where it's just like, oh, blah blah blah, this and that, they're not technically all the way trans unless they get the surgery. And I'm like, dude, fuck that. The only thing that matters is your happiness, dude. Like my message to everybody out there, if you're watching this, it's like, dude, your happiness is number one. Do not like, and it sucks. Like even the fact, like, dude, us as a society, the fact that humans have to work so hard even to just get by is fucking asinine with the amount of technology and knowledge we have. But like, it's just because our world is ran by power hungry corporations, and like I don't even want to go down that fucking rabbit hole. And like whatever, next thing you know, I'll end, because like, dude, don't even get me wrong, dude, like I feel dangerous even like tickling that shit when with having the Guy Fawkes mask tattoo and shit. I've had members of Anonymous approach me on the street and shit when I've played shows and asked me if I was a member, like straight up. When I was in the fucking UK, there was like some guy that came. He was like, "Oh, I see your tattoo." He was just like, "Are you part of?" He's like, "What's your name?" He's like, "What is your name?" He's just like, "Are you a part of us?" And I was just like, "Fuck no, dude. Can you please go away before I get sniped?"
Yeah.
God, Christ, dog, I ain't trying to walk around with one of those fucking little laser pointer homeboys on my shit and just get murked real quick. Fuck that noise. Hell no, because there is, and especially like there's certain IC Star songs like that kind of have like that demeanor, like because me and there was a certain point in time when we all used to like to smoke weed and go down those rabbit holes on YouTube about 9/11 being an inside job. That's where you get your lyrics, like from 3D. This is the portrait the man behind the curtain has painted for you. Like that's one thing. That is one thing that I'll give up to Andio, is that I think that he goes too far out of his way to make sure that his stuff is overly artistic. Like it's almost like that's the way that I critique the way that Devin and Andrew write their lyrics. Is like I want to hear them write a song where they actually go, okay, here's what this song is about. All the words make sense and it's about that song, and the hook just makes it obvious that that's what the song about. I don't think there's a single song that I've heard from either of them that's done that. And if you think about it, there's not a single IC Star song that's about that, that's done it. Because with me being part of the writing process, I can tell you that all the lyrics, even though they are heartfelt lyrics that do have meaning behind them, all the lyrics, in my opinion, are just kind of vague.
Yeah, I felt that.
Yeah, you have to make them vague so everyone can relate to them, but like pay attention to it and look at a IC Stars song and read the lyrics all the way through it and tell me if you can say that there's a single subject that proceeds to all the lyrics about that song. I promise you that it's probably not going to happen.
I felt that a little bit about Digital Renegade, that Yeah, it was a bit strange for a bunch of 20-year-olds to be writing songs about like the corruption and conspiracy theories and stuff. But what was the dynamic like? Because there were 6 people in Icy Stars, and then there became 4, and 2 of those members are brothers, and the other 2, you know, Brent, he was so nice to me, and Jeff was very
Dude,
quiet.
Brent is great. Brent's always been super kind. I actually, my heart goes out to him because from the way that I've analyzed it, it kind of seems like he's fallen into like the replacement party monster position that I used to hold. Like, it seems like Andio told me that he kind of goes really hard and like he's always partying super hard and kind of playing the jester. Like, I kind of like, that's how I looked at myself back in the day, dude. I was a jester. I was everybody's entertainment. I always wanted to be the center of attention. I always wanted to make people laugh. If there was somebody that was trying to sit, or I would really hop here and try that on it. Like, I was a fucking monster, dude. But I mean, that's part of the grind, dude. The music industry can turn people into monsters. You know, I'm glad that I was able to humble myself and finally straighten myself out. But I'm sorry, I feel like I just strayed away. I feel like I almost didn't even listen to what did you ask me? What did you ask me?
I was wondering, like, because Brent can write some really good riffs. And,
oh yeah, you're curious about the writing dynamic when it comes to Icy Stars, okay?
And also the business dynamic, because see, I spoke to Michael from Issues recently, and he was talking about his time in Woe Is Me, and the only member of Woe Is Me, for example, to be there the entire time was Kevin. And I strongly believe that was because Kevin is such a chill, or seems like such a chill, relaxed guy, that like there was never any reason for him to leave, because he's like, it's cool, it's all good. Like, Brent seems like, when I met him, and the same with Jeff, they were both very nice to me, and they've seemed very chill and relaxed. It seems like they're just kind of happy to just, you know, they write really good melodies, particularly Brent. He has a very, very good riffs. Particularly, I would actually say,
I'll say, here's this thing. I have lots of things to say about Icy Stars and writing.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go too far into depth about the negativity of it, though. I want to move past that. Obviously, there was differences between me and Icy Stars. Like I said before, I have no bad blood towards them nowadays. Honestly, man, like, if there ever came a point in time where like we all talked it out and they were just like, yo, like, now we all have our shit together, like, let's write another album. And if they ever wanted me back and like they were down to sit down and apologize to me for being cowards about letting me go and let me apologize to them for being a drunk asshole, then I think that would be great. I'm not sure that's probably never going to happen, knowing them. And like even if Devin heard this, like, honestly, like from my perception, it just seems like his ego's too big and he's too proud to ever do that, realistically. But who knows, maybe with growth and time, that'll come. But going into the writing process, so the key writers in Icy Stars, essentially, in the beginning, like 3D and stuff, we wrote songs just by jamming, because like it was almost that's primitive Icy Stars. That's me on the Alesis Micron and Microcorg X, straight up just coming up with the riffs on the spot, fucking all of us just getting stoned straight, just like jam. Like, it's like we were like basically like a metalcore jam band. Like, we would just like keep on playing shit until something sounded good. But when that was happening, we had no concept of song structure. Like, it was, we didn't have any songs that really had choruses. And it was interesting because I feel like Woe Is Me kind of almost did the same thing, but they made that their staple. Like, they were just like, they just had songs that were kind of just journeys. It didn't really have hooks in them, you know?
Yeah, it was just,
but we go to do pre-production. You said what?
It was like one section, different section, one section, maybe a callback, but it was like 5 separate parts of a song.
Yeah, it's almost like in order to go into between parts, you just had to have like all these unnecessary bridges. Like, it was just like going from song to song within a song. It's very, very, very immature songwriting on paper, but people think that it sounds cool because it kind of takes you on a journey. I get it, but from a person that takes it so seriously nowadays, I would never do that nowadays. I try to do everything industry standard, or like if I'm trying to like, cause like I don't want to do anything super ballsy until like if I ever do like get discovered and end up being like a person that can perform in front of lots of people again, and I end up getting to the point where I sell lots of records again, once I have like that comfortableness of where I know that like I'm good, I don't have to worry about paying bills and shit like that, then I'll start doing some oblong shit and test the waters just to see what I can get away with. But yeah, because I mean, like some even people in the pop industry take huge leaps. Look at Billie Eilish. Like I remember the first time I heard "Bad Guy." I heard that song, and like even like from a producer standpoint, I heard that song and I was like, dude, this song is a fucking joke. I was like, what the fuck is this? This is the most awkward sounding song I've ever heard in my life. Like I don't even know what emotion it gives me. And then like 2 minutes later, in my head, I heard. And I was like, oh, that motherfucker's a genius. I was like, that's all it takes. I was like, if you look inside it, it's like, dude, her lyrics in that song is not even the hook. Mm-hmm. The hook is the synth. The hook is you're going to be sitting in the elevator and like some bullshit ass music on the elevator, and you're going to be like, I wish I heard that riff right now. Because it like just sounds kind of crazy. I mean, like that synth riff alone, like it makes me feel like you belong. Like when I listen to it, I'm like, I feel like anyone that listens to this like belongs in an asylum or some shit. It almost kind of sounds evil. I like it, a little malicious.
I really like
but yeah. So the chord players, I'm sorry.
Can I just say that in 10,000 feet, when your synth goes do 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 do, that was probably my favorite thing you ever did, because
that's cred to Andio. That synth is to Andio. Andio made that synth, and I'm actually super proud of because like here's the thing of why it was so difficult to be in IC Stars when it comes to writing. Like it started off where we all jammed together, but after years of progression, it got to the point where every single member was capable of playing. Like I can play drums, I can play guitar, I can play bass, I can program synth, I can sing, I can scream. So can Devin, so can Andio. Mm-hmm. Jeff can play. Jeff is really good at programming on Ableton. He's good at writing bass riffs. He can play drums and guitar pretty well. I'm pretty sure the only two people in IC Stars really that couldn't play drums at least mediocrely was like Brent and Jimmy. Like Brent could do the fucking like parlor trick. Rockable intellect at all. Anyone can go.
Yeah, of course.
Like if you can't, then get. But yeah. So it got to the point where every single one of us was like basically just like full blown producers. So we ended up almost kind of realizing that we ended up coming up with better stuff when we had pressure on us. So we would normally go into the studio when we were about to record an album with only like 4 songs written, and then we would fucking pound out the rest of the album while we were at the studio. So whenever like Devin's tracking vocals to this song, I'll be over here with the guitar and the little like portable interface writing all, like for the most part, like you can tell which songs the Oliver brothers were very emotionally invested in, because those songs were essentially the ones that got pushed as singles. Like What This Means to Me was actually the single of 3D, and that's the very last song that we wrote for that album. We wrote that song. That song started being written by me and Devin. Like I was literally just like kind of drunk and high in the live room playing on this old dusty piano, and I started playing, like I literally like was just joking around, and the stuff that I was playing joking around was the synth riff for What This Means to Me. And like Devin was just like, and like Devin was like, dude, that actually sounds fucking crispy. I'm gonna go grab the acoustic guitar. And then like he automatically like dude, Devin is super musically talented. I miss writing songs with him because most of the stuff I agree on, but like it's almost one of those things where it's just like me and him both kind of have like egos about songwriting, and we both are like very talented at songwriting to the point where it's just like I don't know if both of those spoons are supposed to go into the same soup, because it's almost too difficult, because it gets to the point where you're just like I want to agree with you, but I just hear it a certain way, and like you hear it a certain way, and like that would happen all the time writing songs with Icy Stars, because like Devin was so particular about certain melodies. And then there would even be some weird shit that would happen sometimes, like not even trying to call him out, because like I probably have done it too, but like there would be some times where like I would have an idea for like a way that he should sing a certain melody, and he would just keep on singing it the way that he wanted to sing it. And he would be like, it's almost like enough time would pass by to the point where then he would try it with my idea and like almost trick himself into believing that he came up with the idea, but like I'm the one that told him to sing it that way. Like he would be like, that was perfect, that was the perfect take, man, I should sing it this way. And I'm just like, yeah, I told you to sing it that way like 30 minutes ago and you just straight up did not listen to me, but okay.
It sounds like you and him had a really good chemistry together. It's really interesting that everyone in Icy Stars is very multi-talented, but it seems like the direction since you left has been very much the Andy and Devin project. But who knows? We might hear something different in their new album, because I found that the Treehouse album was such a departure. But what was it like? Because you mentioned that they were still sending you money, and you also knew about that they're working with a producer now. So you're still in contact with the band or management or something like that?
No, I'm just a creeper and I look at their shit on social.
Okay, but so that you mentioned as well, like, so I remember when way back like 10 years ago, so you did London and like Southampton and stuff with We the Kings and All Forgotten, which was really cool, and that's where I saw you. And yeah, it was pretty. I remember me and my brother were quite disappointed because we thought that you deserved to be the main support for We the Kings, but actually you were the first band on that day, so you only got 5 or 6 songs. You then went to Jakarta, Indonesia, which I actually used to live in Indonesia as well. And this whole time you were touring on a tour bus, which is pretty unusual for a band who've only been big and signed for 1 or 2 years to have a big bus. Whoa.
Oh, you're saying overseas?
Yeah. In England, and also
overseas is like just the way that music is promoted and regulated overseas is done so much more properly and less nitpicky than it is in the US. Like the US, like over there in the UK, like they just have like the Academy, and like you'll have like a little coffee shop type bar area where there'll be some guy that's doing Beatles covers in the basement, and then you'll have like Flux Pavilion with like 30,000 people on the top floor, and then underneath that you'll have us and Versa Merge playing. Like, dude, we were playing, like, this is one of my favorite tour moments of all time, dude, because it was just when EDM was like really popping and like stuff that shit, like when it was like starting to rise. We're in this venue in the UK, and I get a little toasty. It was funny as hell too, because I was broke as shit and I wanted to get drunk, and some kid that was a fan of us ended up just stealing some shit from the market to give to me. He just literally just walked in there and grabbed these 2 big ass 2 liters of Strongbow and then just came across the street and handed them to me. I was just like, word, okay.
Why were you broke at that age when you're touring in a big fat tour bus?
You make next to nothing, because I mean, we've never played shows there before. You make next to nothing when you start over there. Like, it's almost like when you go to tour, it's almost like you're starting over again. Like, it was kind of a weird dynamic, because like For the Fallen Dreams is like bigger than us overseas. So like we would play in front of crowds that were massive compared to theirs in the States, and then we'd come over here and it would flip over and they'd be bigger than us. It was fucking just so odd.
I saw the Word Alive did that in Poland and the Czech Republic recently. Actually, they're playing these tiny venues, but you still had the budget to get a proper tour bus rather than a tiny van and stuff, didn't you?
I think that basically just all ties in with our management. Like we did have good representation at that time. Like whenever, like that's the other thing too that was like difficult about working with IC Stars, is because like they really had a difficult time playing ball with a lot of rules when it comes to like managers, and business managers. Like they were always trying to find people that would do it for next to nothing, and then even when they would agree to do it for next to nothing, they would bitch when they wouldn't get prime services. And in the back of my head, I'm just like, dude, the reason why they're doing a shitty job is because we're not even paying them like even close to what they're supposed to be making. Yeah. And then like that's exactly what would happen with crew members as well. Like we would have guitar techs, and we would find people that were hungry, that wanted to get the experience to put it in their portfolio. And like we would explain to them before the tour. We'd be like, yo, honestly, man, like we're honestly like really not balling, and like we can afford to pay you probably like $200-$300 a week plus buyouts for food. That's about it.
I always say that the music industry,
people that would do it, and they would do it for a couple of years. They thought that they would think that their loyalty like would like give them raises and shit like that. And as soon as they would ask for more money, we would move on to the next.
I think that I always say that the music industry is for the love and not the money. You know, that's the thing. The music industry is the love, not the money.
There ain't no love in the music industry. People are ruthless out there.
Fucking hell. So you know what?
It's starting to happen nowadays. Like it's starting to get to a point where artists are like getting down to like collab with each other and help each other out. You can see it with a lot of pop artists, and that's why that kind of crowd attracts me, and that's why that music attracts me. I mean, like I'm a big fan of Tate McRae. Like she comes out with that song "You Broke Me First." I'm like, oh, you know what would be fucking dope? Like, because I'm a huge fan of Black Bear. Like he's my #1 favorite artist right now. With that genre, I'm just like, yeah, dude, of course, Tate McRae and Black Bear, they're gonna drop a song together. I know it. Fucking a month later, boom. I'm just like, cause like, dude, when they're all about like moving forward, and like you'll even hear in some of their lyrics where like it's kind of funny how like they'll almost like talk shit about the music industry in their lyrics. Like they're just like, yeah, for way too long have all of you record executives been taking all of our fucking money when we're the people that are like bleeding and sweating and writing, putting hours and hours of work, like pouring our hearts out into these songs. Why is this guy getting all this money just because like he was the initial investor? Like, fuck that noise. What it should be is like, here is you investing in my company. Frickin' give me 40 grand so I can record the nastiest, dopest album, and I can take my time doing it. And I promise you that if you invest a little bit more money into music videos and promoting it, there's no way that it will fail. But that's the thing about Sumerian. Sumerian never wanted, like, there's penny pinchers everywhere. Ash always wanted to penny pinch and do everything in-house. He always wanted the people that shot our music videos to be just like his personal friends that would do it for cheap. And that's why Rise Records was just willing to spend more money. And that's why every single band that got signed by Rise got bigger than IC Stars, because Rise was willing to, like, you get what you pay for. And Sumerian, like, Ash had too many passion projects on the side, like all obsessed with like making movies and stuff. And like, he's just like Ash, like me and Ash, the record label owner of Sumerian, like we really didn't get along, man. Like that guy would come up to me and like when I would be chubby and shit, like he would come up to me and like pinch my belly and be like, that shit.
That's so messed
like,
up.
Just be a straight cut me. Like, and I was just like, dude, if you're not gonna respect me, I'm not gonna respect you. Like I'm just not gonna talk to you. So like, I don't like that guy after he did that. I'm a person that's all about impressions, and like it sucks because there's lots where to music like an asshole. You can only be so nice. Like there's sometimes where you kind of have to be Simon Cowlish about it. Like you have to be like, you try to like kind of sneak it in there, but eventually like you just got to be like, listen, homie, like I think that your shit is dope, and I think that you're a pretty talented singer, but I'm just letting you know that like with the unclean vocalist that's on these songs right now, like it's holding the project back. Like it's going to hold you back from progressing further unless you get on his ass about him becoming better at screaming. Like if he's comfortable where he's at right now, that's not a good thing. You need to constantly make sure that you're always pushing your bandmates to get better at their craft. And IC Stars specialize in making our craft production, like electronic production, like basically just like being able to get as much done of the process done ourselves before we have to get it sent out to mix. Like all of us, almost every single person that's in IC Stars, I'm pretty confident is capable of tracking their own shit. And you know, I don't think Andio goes too far into depth when it comes to mixing and mastering. I don't know if he's there yet. Devin is really good at mixing and mastering. Brent's like, dude, they're all just doing their own thing though. Like, I don't know what to expect from this album from Bendith, because like, there was like a certain amount of time too where like it's almost like the people that were writing, like a lot of people don't even know this, and I almost don't want to say it because I'm afraid that I'll get sued for like saying it, but like I don't think I'll get sued, but like there was like a point, like I'm pretty sure, like long story short, that like they basically already, before they did this album with Bendith, they already had another album recorded, but like it was just like, I'm pretty sure that their representation and like everybody in their circle basically said like, this, we're not going to try to sell this. This is not what you guys are about to put out. Like, I think it was either too outlandish, like too weird, like too much of a sore thumb. Like maybe they were trying to be too risky with it or something like that. Like knowing IC Stars, that's probably what it was. I bet you that they were trying to do some controversial shit that was like way too ahead of the game. And cause like they would like, they didn't like to, we never liked to play ball with like suits, man. Like they would like record labels, people don't know this, but like, look at like Betray the Martyrs, for instance. Do you think in any fucking universe, it was like, look at the band members of Betray the Martyrs and tell me, do you think in any universe it was their fucking idea to cover a song from Frozen? Fuck no. That came from Sumerian, dude. That was Sean and Ash. That was them just being like, yo, we're super Hollywood. Pixar, number one box office movie right now. Fucking Frozen, this is the biggest movie that's ever come out. If you guys cover a song, it's bound to not fail. Promise you. Boom. They were right, dude. Shit blew up. They would try to do shit like that with that, like with us. They wanted us to cover a Metallica song, and even I disagree with that. I was like, dude, I'm sorry, homie, but like, I'm not even a fan of Metallica. I'm not even trying to talk shit about Metallica, but like, I don't like their music. I don't think their songs are good. Like,
it's a terrible idea.
I know that there's probably some people out there that would cut my head off or shoot me in the head for saying that, but like, I'm just like, I'm a person of truth, dude. I'm not a fan of Metallica. There's lots of like, I'm kind of like not really a fan of like that kind of like, I call it like Spencer's Gifts metal, like Mastodon and shit like that. It's kind of like the festivals where like, it's like a festival where like I wouldn't be surprised if I seen a whole bunch of dudes with like big gnarly beards drinking out of kegs and shit. Like that's just not my scene, dude.
Yeah, it's true actually. Like I actually agree like that doing a Metallica cover, because it's such a beloved band by a huge fan base, that if you fuck it up, if you even do anything, it's really bad idea. I mean, I liked Your Love. That was a good cover. But again, like I think even IC Star's most recent album, Treehouse.
Yeah, just one quick thing about Your Love for everybody's information. People always get confused because there's music videos of Chris Moore screaming and it's my voice. The only recording of IC Stars that came out that has his screams on it is the cover of Your Love. That's the only song that has Chris Moore screams on it. All the other shit is other people. I see all this confusion in people in comments and shit. Like when I'll be going through like reading YouTube comments and reading shit that trolls say, I see all these people that are just like, Chris Moore was so much better. He sounded so good on 3D. And like, I don't want to feed into the trolls, but I so badly just want to pwn them and just be like, dude, you're an idiot. Like you don't know shit. Like stop trying to act like you fucking know everything, homie. Like
a simple Wikipedia search would have cleared that up for them as well.
Like, there was even times where I was like, I'm currently innovating.
Yeah.
But anyways, the Your Love cover.
Yeah. So I agree with everything you're saying, and I think you're right. What was the process for, particularly because you mentioned What This Means to Me, which I thought was one of my favorite songs off that first album, but it certainly wasn't the favorite. What about The Common Hours? What was the reasoning behind that song? Because that was one of your earlier songs as well.
Yeah, Common Hours is practically the song. You can give IC Stars entire success literally to that song.
I agree.
They probably wouldn't admit that, but also when it comes to IC Stars' success, I can't remember exactly how to pronounce his last name, but he's an old time friend. I think his name is Danny Ritzoff, or I can't remember how to pronounce his name, but mad shout out to you, because if he was a MySpace whore and he had crazy amounts of friends, like thousands and thousands of friends, and he whored out our single comment hours, and that's how we pretty much like got a big following. It's like, dude, like what a lot of people don't know is like the dynamic of what IC Stars did before we went on tour and stuff was just like this weird thing that I didn't really know about, that happens often. It's like I didn't realize that these local music scenes become such a community, man. Like that's the reason why, like, after you get some success, there's almost a part of it, there's almost like an innocence about it, about when you're at the local stage that you miss, because like everybody is like on the same level, everybody's peers, everybody's just trying to be that one band that finally makes it. And IC Stars was lucky enough to be one of the first ones. And then like, yeah, man, it's just like crazy. Like I said, that's like, cause you have especially in Michigan, it's like how many good bands have come out of Michigan? Let's see. It's like you have We Came as Romans, you have It Prevails. And then, yeah, I'm pretty sure For the Fallen Dreams actually just recently blew up a couple years ago, like way bigger than they ever were. But I think that they had some successful material that they dropped as well. But yeah, dude, I didn't even realize how massive I Prevail was. Like some person's like, you've never heard of I Prevail? And I'm just like, I've honestly probably played shows with them, but I don't really listen to that kind of music anymore. So I honestly have no idea. But I really do love that one song that's almost a ballad by them. It's a very beautiful song, and it's like just perfectly well written. It's almost like so well written to the point where like I would question that they would have had outside people that helped them wrote that song. If that kid actually wrote that song all by himself, then just like mad kudos and props to you, homie. But that one she let me in, let me out, you let me all alone. Yeah, like that song is fucking sick, dude. I love that song.
They're a very, very good band. I think they have so I was actually going to do a video on my channel, and I was going to call it, in 10 years, who do you think is going to be like the next Red State rock band, right? Because you know, like now we've got like Five Finger Death Punch and Shine Down. I predict that
wow, I've never heard that before. That's clever. It's funny because I was almost on the borderline about to say, like, can we just call it redneck rock? Like, isn't that really what it is? Or is that?
Yeah. So 5 to 10 years, I predict that I Prevail and those sort of like Wage War, maybe Bring Me the Horizon, Amity Affliction, they're going to be like even though like they're not pandering to a redneck audience.
Dude, I don't think Bring Me the Horizon will. Bring Me the Horizon is like just at the point where like they're just on top of their game and they're just gonna keep on crushing it. They don't need to get at a very comfortable place, and they don't have to get any bigger, man. That's the dream. And also, speaking of Bring Me the Horizon, I do also wanna, since like I'm on a platform, I do want to give a huge shout out to Ali Sykes. I've met him a couple times and he was always really nice to me, and he's actually always been kind of a hero of mine, especially with their new material. Watching him become so like innovative when it comes to music, and also like I'm pretty aware of nowadays that he doesn't do drugs anymore either. Like I don't know if he smokes weed, but like I'm pretty sure that he used to be heavily addicted to something. I don't know if it was like, I'm pretty sure it was like ketamine or heroin, to be honest, because I remember one of the times I came across him when I was up on the Breathe Carolina bus. It's when he was using, and I could kind of see like, I kind of talked to him, but I could kind of like, as too, like I could kind of tell that he was like just kind of trying to chill, and he was just waiting for drugs. Like I don't think that he really wanted to fuck with everybody. Like he was really itching for a fix, so I didn't want to bother him. But later on in years, I saw him on Warped Tour running around, and like he just got super sober. And like once I finally was able to become sober, like it was just like super inspiring to listen to the music that he's dropped, because it just inspires me, man, because I'm taking such a different direction from what I used to do. And moving forward, just like watching him do it and keep on taking these risks, and people just respect it and like his art. It's like, shout out to you, Ali Sykes, you my homeboy. I hope that one day it'd be a big dream of mine to have a crazy monster track with me, Black Bear, and Ali on it. That'd be like That would just give me like, I would probably like jizz in my pants if that ever happens.
Oh man, yeah, Bring Me the Horizon in the UK, you know, they've kind of replaced the real mainstream rock act. You know, they are the number one mainstream rock act, and it's I think it's also primarily after recruiting session musician Jordan Fish, when they recruited Jordan Fish as a session musician and then eventually made him a permanent member. I think that also made all the difference as well.
Dude, I'm just like, who's bigger than Bring Me the Horizon? U2? That's like probably it.
That's literally like where I think there's like Biffy Clyro, maybe Biffy Clyro are about like the same. And
Who's that?
You don't know Biffy Clyro?
I've never heard of that.
Man, they like headline like Download Festival and stuff. You know, they're like a big they're like a big UK band. But yeah, in the UK, obviously indie rock is like probably like the main form of rock, which is very popular. So like
You like compare that to, you compare that kind of music to like basically like the Killers and shit like that, or is it kind of more like fun?
it's more like Two Door Cinema Club and that kind of stuff.
Isn't indie rock kind of just becoming dance music?
Yeah, it's I don't enjoy it very much, but it's
almost like no matter what, it's funny because like maybe I See Stars and like, well, here's another funny dynamic about I See Stars and Attack Attack. Apparently, like, I don't know if this story is true, but apparently I was told a story by either, I can't remember if it was I think it was one of the members of Attack Attack when he was really fucking drunk.
Ah.
I think I remember this. I can't remember exactly which cat it was, but he was telling me about this story that there was this one time, and it was when I wasn't in the band, that Attack Attack and Icy Stars stayed at this like party house, and apparently Attack Attack got drunk as fuck and basically like told Icy Stars that we played a show with them in Ohio, and they basically like took pictures of our gear and like just like completely ripped off our sound because they knew that they would be able to get signed quicker because they were old enough. And like that's basically the reason why Attack Attack got bigger than Icy Stars, because they were old enough to get signed before us, I guess. Like I'm not sure if that's true, but if that's like the underlining thing that led to where Austin Carlile is at now, I'm just like, wow, dude. I mean, that was a smart move, and I can't even hate, bro.
Well, it's not even just Austin, you know, look at Caleb and Johnny, but Caleb has said that, you know, he was such a talented keyboard player that I think him being in that band, you know, him writing those synth parts and Stick Stickly and stuff was
Dude, I think the number one person that's the most talented in that band now is, I think, that motherfucker that's doing that Bill Murray shit. I fuck with that shit hard, dude.
Johnny Frank, yeah, Johnny.
That one song I fuck with so hard. I remember when I listened to it and like the saxophone comes on in the end, and I was just like, dude, this guy is ahead of his time, and this guy automatically in my book was a great songwriter. I was like, that took balls. It sounds good. It sounds clean. Good job, bro. Also, like doing that little like, you could tell that it's like a DIY music video. It's like super shitty, but it has all these different elements, and like you don't care that it's shitty because it's just showing you all this shit from your childhood, like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater and Sidekicks and stuff. And I was like, dude, this guy's a genius. I love this homie. I hope that one day me and him can.
Yeah, he looks like he does everything in one take and just does it perfectly. Johnny's a really cool guy. I think he's done a few podcasts with Finn McKenty and stuff. So yeah, I had a real blast talking to you. I think every question that I initially had, we've covered. You know, we've covered like that you had crazy good management, because when you're 18 years old, to have like a big fat tour bus and stuff, and going to Jakarta, that must have been an experience, even though you were only there for 2 days and then you went to Australia, I think it was, or something. Like it must have been pretty incredible to be 18 and traveling the world.
Jakarta was cool, man. It was kind of sad seeing some stuff there, like it being a third world country and stuff. It kind of makes you feel guilty being a person that lives in a first world country. But other than that, I mean, it was cool. Also, I apologize to IC Stars. I'll speak for the group at the time. IC Stars wholeheartedly apologizes for what the fuck we did to the green room that night when we played at the Badminton Stadium. We all got super fucked up and went way too hard, and the green room kind of, like, I'm pretty sure we all had a crazy ego trip because this one guy basically was a dick to us. He came up to us and basically like I'm pretty sure like I had my foot up on the couch or something. Like I had my foot up on the couch, like in the Captain Morgan pose. And I was just like looking like kind of like standing there looking at my phone. And he came up to me and he was just like, hey, get your shoe off the couch. That's a rental. If it gets fucked up, we have to pay for it. And I was just like, oh yeah, wait for him to leave the room, and then like I fucking just take the beer bottle and smash it against the wall, and we kind of trash the green room and shit. Like, dude, we were wild, dude. I See Stars was wild as fuck, dude. Like we were known as the crazy party band, and there was times where some of us would do disrespectful shit, and that's why there was other bands that didn't like us, because like there was times where we just went way too hard, bro.
I'm actually going to use that opportunity because at the moment, the reason I've just got to the Czech Republic today is I've been on a 50-day running trip. I've been running marathons or half marathons and marathons in every city that I visit for the last. So there's one of me in Vienna this morning doing a half marathon, and so the reason I'm doing it is that I'm raising money for an organization called Feed Bali, because I used to live in Indonesia, and because the tourism there is just fucked because, you know, COVID and everything, no one there's like getting any money. The taxi drivers, the restaurants, anything, you know, the hotels, they're all closing down. So I'm doing this, like these crazy runs in like Monaco and Paris and stuff. So if anyone has watched this far or listened this far and wants to donate to that, I will leave a link in the description as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Make sure you send me that information as well so I can help spread the word, because when I was in Indonesia, it was a thing that almost like brought me to tears, man. Like not to like come off like I'm a hippie or a super compassionate person. I never want to like, that's another thing. Like I never want to try to portray myself like I'm like this crazy like recovery guru, or like I'm like, but like I do want to put it out there to everyone out there. Like if there's anyone that's struggling with alcoholism or addiction, if you need someone to talk to and need advice, because I've struggled with it really bad, and I'm finally at a place where I'm like very mentally sound. Like if anyone ever needs any advice, DM me or something like that, you know, like I'm not afraid to talk to anyone nowadays. But also, yeah, like I remember when I was in Indonesia, I remember seeing this little village of kids by the river, man. Like there was like literally like, it looked like a little village of fucking like toddlers, and like it was kind of led by like, you could tell that this one girl probably must have been like whatever, like probably as old as my daughter, man, like probably like 7, probably like going on 7, and this girl was trying to take care of all these little fucking toddlers. And I don't know if they were all homeless or if they all like were just like neighborhood friends or what was going on, but I'm pretty sure it looked like they were trying to get some fish. And I was just like, holy shit, I can't believe this is happening. Like this shit needs to stop. I'm over here where I can just go into like, essentially, if I really wanted to, bro, like I could probably live for an entire year in America off of like $1,000. If I just ate McDonald's and ate cheap ass like dollar little things here and there, like it would be super unhealthy, but like just for like as a survival tactic for me to just be sustainable and stay living, you could live in America for pretty fucking cheap. That's why there's so many people there's lots of people that are poverty stricken but are also fucking lazy. They don't want to get off their ass. They're happy just sitting there collecting that welfare and keep on having kids and getting that money from the government, which is I highly frown upon. But like not like I'm a Republican or anything. Now I'm getting off topic again, and you have had me for a very long time, but what I did want to get to is would you mind if I play just a small snippet of one of my singles? You'll probably not be able to hear it greatly, but I have a decent condenser mic, so you might be able to at least hear it at a decent quality. I'm just
no, of course, absolutely, because we did say that we wanted to, you know, talk briefly about what you're up to now, and I will leave a link in the description.
Yeah, if you're down to continue, I'm down to go as long as you want. I'll play. I'll begin it, and basically like the first half of the hook, and then I have to cut it off, or else the record label that I'm currently affiliated with out of Scotland called OBV Records, my girl Frances will get real pissed at me, so I can't show you guys. Can you hear it?
Yeah.
They say fake it till you make it. I'ma get the booty shaking. Damn, this track is contagious. They say fake it till you make it. Girl, you ain't got me taking off your style. Girl, sound is sweet and brown. I'ma shake it till you say fake it.
I don't know. I fuck with my own music hard. I guess I'll just play the hook. I'm almost that's all I can play, but yeah.
Awesome. Well, that sounds sick. The beat sounds good. Vocals sounding fantastic, by the way. I'm really happy for you that you've landed on your feet and everything worked out for the best, despite the fact that it was a bit messed up. But you know what? Time will tell and time heals everything. And you never know. There might become an opportunity for us to see you back on stage. And there certainly, hopefully, should be an opportunity to see you playing some festivals, playing some shows, debuting your new solo music as well.
Oh, absolutely, man. I mean, even if it's years down the road, I'm pretty determined to make it a part of my future goals. So like, I'm going to school in the fall to basically become either an electrician or a dental assistant, just so I can get like a good source of income. And whenever I'm not at work, so I can continue to grind on music, but just at a much higher level where I can just produce content where the quality is up to par with all these people that are doing it online. Like I do plan to I'm gonna launch a Facebook video or a Facebook page for my new act. Like instead of Zachy J, I'm just going by it's just like Zach now. It's pretty much like a Z with an upwards arrow symbol and then a K. It's kind of like pretty much inspired by the artist Max. I'm a huge fan of Max, and I was just like, dude, I tried to come up with like a clever artist name, and like everything's taken, bro. I was just like, dude, my name is Zach. I'll go by Zach. It kind of looks cool on merch. What the fuck ever. Like I'm not gonna overthink it at this point. At this point, it's all about the music. But yeah, man, I'm super stoked. Even if it takes years down the road for me to get back out there on the festival circuit, I'm definitely within the years to come at least gonna start playing some shows locally in Michigan. So if anyone wants to see me perform some of these bangers that I'm dropping on YouTube, just come out and see me once you see my name pop up there, you know?
Awesome. Thank you so much, bro, for everything and for giving us so much details about, you know, Icy Stars, Outer Glow, everything we spoke about. I had a blast. Yeah, I really appreciate it. And I'll give you a heads up when this is all edited and uploaded.
All right, man. Sounds great, dude.
Thank you so much again, brother.
Absolutely, bro. Much love, all right?
Bye for now.